Hi, Bother Brigade. Here's what's bothering me today. So a few days ago, Anjali Appadurai was disqualified from the BC NDP leadership contest. The main reason why they decided to disqualify her is because apparently some group by the name of like Dogwood something, it's like an advocate group or something like that. I'm not even particularly familiar with them, never heard of them before this whole event unfolded, but allegedly they offered to help put out notifications to their membership to sign up to the NDP to support her leadership bid. And apparently that's a real big no-no for the BC NDP, which is why they also totally decided to ignore the fact that the other front-running leader, David Eby, basically had unions do the same for him. Totally not a point of hypocrisy and just, you know, trying to automatically make Eby the king of this party, right? And then she sat down in front of a small cabal, basically, that decided, oh yeah, you know what, we're going to disqualify you from the race. There is more to all this, but this is the main points of what recently happened. And a lot of people are understandably pissed, not just because of the blatant hypocrisy by the party, but also how much the party, which again, the NDP is supposed to be our actual, air quotes, left-wing party in Canada. The Conservatives are conservative, the Liberals are centrist libs, and then the NDP is supposed to be like social democrats, actually care about the climate and, you know, support unions and workers and social justice and stuff like that, right? And yet the BC NDP fought tooth and nail because they were concerned that all of a sudden this new candidate, Anjali, had suddenly brought in thousands of new members eager to join and support her and the NDP and actually fight for climate justice and all these things they supposedly believed in. Suddenly, whoa, no, we can't do that. We have to actually curb stomp this viciously. And that's the actual core of today's video. What happened to Anjali Appadurai is merely the latest in a long-running series of political parties and those who lead them, who are members of the ruling class and the elites, however you choose to term them. It's yet another episode of them actively coming down and chasing down and disqualifying, getting rid of, destroying any candidate or party that legitimately threatens their interests and their power. Sad truth of the world, at least in this supposed first world democracy that we claim to live in the West, is that any single candidate or party that will ever truly legitimately threaten the ruling class and their interests and their power will never be allowed to succeed. It will be fought tooth and nail from the earliest possible point. And we see this time and time again, and not just here in Canada. In 2019, Britain's Labour Party sabotaged pro-Corbyn candidates in the 2019 election. As we saw with Bernie Sanders just south of the border here, the Democrats worked way harder to get rid of him than fighting Republicans. They even admitted to this. Democratic leaders willing to risk party damage to stop Bernie Sanders. And then recently, which we did talk about a bit on this channel, you had the whole issue with the federal Green Party where, oh, hey, look, there's actually a chance where we could maybe get an honest-to-God democratic socialist, and suddenly people were excited about that, and you had thousands of people joining the Green Party and wanting to vote for progressive, actual socialist candidates, and the Green Party was like, whoa, 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 actual grassroots movement, no, 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 and they had to literally send Elizabeth May to sabotage her own goddamn party. Elizabeth May criticized for interfering in Green Party leadership contest. Yeah, remember that old chestnut about how she basically decided to interfere to purposefully stonewall the chance of, you know, the actual candidates that people more than likely would have voted for and gotten in from actually winning? And then we got that lovely year-long period of the Green Party being a national joke. And then again, most recently, we have what happened in BC just a few days ago. BC NDP candidate ejected from leaders race David Eby to be premier because no one else was running, and her deciding to join the leadership race and actually campaigning on climate justice, affordable housing, indigenous rights. Oh no, suddenly the things that we pretended to care about as a party, oh, you mean we'd actually have to do that? Whoa, 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 we can't have that. We gotta get rid of this lady. Even though our other guy, who's now gonna probably be the next premier, he did basically the same thing that we're saying is, oh, very bad, you must be disqualified from the leadership race. It is all so blatant and mask off. So again, I remind people that any party that is allowed to exist within a quote democracy here in the democratic West is not actually that democratic, because when there are actual movements to try and within the existing power structures advocate for changes to policy, to push for candidates that actually represent what people want to see reflected in the greater political system, it is stymied and curb stomped at every opportunity. It happens here in Canada at the federal and the provincial level. It happens in America at the federal and state level. It happens in Britain at all levels. It happens everywhere. So here's the actual thing that I want people to take away from this. Whether you are, like, you probably already understand this if you're like on the far left or like an anarchist or a communist, you probably already understand what I'm about to say. So what I'm saying is now for more moderate people, liberals, centrists, conservatives, far right people, however you choose to define yourself, please keep all of this in mind. Any party that meaningfully seeks to challenge the established order in the ruling class is not allowed or permitted really to succeed or have a chance in that system. They will never allow their power to be threatened in such a way by the very system that they profit and benefit off of. So now think about the parties that you're voting for and all the talk of, you know what, vote for us if you really want to see change, right? Look at just what's happened already with Justin Trudeau's, what are we on now? 7+ years of him, including like the first 4 years being a majority, of him being able to actually meaningfully do the things that he said he was going to do, such as say, I don't know, maybe ending first past the post and improving the situation for Canadians. And now they're talking with the NDP about, oh yeah, with the confidence and supply agreement, maybe we'll get $10 a day daycare and pharmacare and all these other lovely things. But they're saying, oh, well, we have to wait until 2025 to do that. We can't really, you know, start hitting the books now to try and get this done as soon as possible while Canadians are hurting, right? No. We have to wait until the possible chance that we're already out of power and the Conservatives are in charge. So yeah, real change is going to happen with Team Red. And then think about Team Blue and Pierre Poilievre up here, right? Think of all that, oh, you know, I'm going to really change things for you. It's within the existing system. He's only going to do stuff that benefits the same ruling class and the gatekeepers, as he calls them now. He's really only going to make things even better and easier for them. So please don't be misled by that nonsense. As we saw with the BC NDP. Oh, you want an actual progressive candidate who's going to hopefully lead one of Canada's most major provinces? Whoa. Can't have that. Now, again, think about the People's Party of Canada. Oh, we're totally outside of the system. I'm Mad Max, right? If they ever won a seat or multiple seats under even a proportional system, hypothetically in the future, it doesn't matter because they do not fundamentally threaten the power and influence of those who actually run things in this country. So they are allowed to exist. But bothered boy, I hear like the 5 of you who are aware that we have 2 communist parties in this country are saying. The Communist Party of Canada and the Marxist-Leninist Party of Canada exist, so how come they're allowed to exist? And I mostly explain that away by the fact that the Communist Party was recently exposed to be an absolute fucking joke of a party, didn't really show a lot of solidarity with Indigenous people and the marginalized and, you know, sexual assault victims. So again, any party that truly threatens the interests of the ruling class is not allowed to exist or allowed to succeed. And as we saw recently with the Communist Party of Canada, they clearly don't believe in a lot of what on paper they're supposedly saying. Same goes for the NDP. Same goes for the Green Party. This is the problem, right? People end up in those parties, they talk to the elites because this is how the system works. And so it all just, you know, keeps reinforcing itself for the shitty system it is. It corrupts itself all the time, no matter what part of the political spectrum you fall on. Like, I really can't stress enough here that this is very much me trying to look at the bigger picture of the elites versus all of us, whether we get along or not. So if you're voting liberal, conservative, NDP, Green, Communist, People's Party, whatever, Libertarian Party, hell, I don't care. Any party that you are voting for is either too small, and like too random and single issue to meaningfully care about, or it is not a threat to the ruling class because they already have their agents at the highest levels of the party pulling the goddamn strings. But that is not to say that the situation is hopeless. You can still engage in grassroots democracy. Unfortunately, it means you're gonna have to do a lot of the work yourself and not within existing power structures. It also means more of a decentralization, a lot more community-based focus and activism, and then from there, potentially built into a larger provincial or national structure. It also just reinforces the importance of mutual aid, just you and your comrades taking care of each other when the state refuses to. The situation is not hopeless, but expecting it to be changed by the existing power structure that the powers that be benefit from is definitely not a good way to go moving forward. And that's not me saying that electoralism is bad. In fact, it's very much important because the people that you most dislike and that we most dislike here on this channel, the far right, the fascists, the theocratic fascists, they are all very much invested in running candidates in municipal, provincial, and federal elections to try and win so that they can remake Canada into this actual, even worse nightmare hell of a landscape. If you refuse to participate in what little excuse for a democracy we have, that only makes it easier for them. And quite frankly, I would rather fight, the quote unquote video game or like this fight on, an easy or a normal setting rather than extreme difficulty. Just letting the right wing get their way is putting the world and our society on extreme difficulty setting. Whereas at least by supporting nominally centrist or left of center parties, that makes it more of a normal difficulty. There's still some difficulty, there's some challenge because, as we've discussed before, they aren't really seeing the bigger picture here either, but it's better than having to fight against, a fully fledged established fascist state. You feel me? So absolutely, you should still vote. If this gets out before the municipal elections, go vote in those. There are lots of people doing good work, lots of great candidates. Just figure out who the good ones are and vote for them. Simple stuff, really. But for all the things we clearly care about on a larger macro scale of affordable housing, climate action, this is not going to be done by the people in power who have the $1,000 steak night dinners with the billionaires in this country. Whether it's the BC NDP or the United Conservative Party or Alberta or the Progressive Conservative Party here in Ontario, the federal Liberals, the federal Conservatives, it doesn't matter. It's all a sham. They're all in the same club and we're not in it. So the way forward is that if you and your comrades are actually, truly being targeted, arrested, being stymied at every opportunity for trying to participate democratically or to help out your neighbors, if you are being opposed for that at every possible opportunity, and if you are, again, not being, assholes the way, say, the United People of Canada were being, if you are just doing the best that you can and demanding actual justice and action and helping out your neighbors, and if you're being punished for it, then sadly, welcome to the club. You're on the right side of history, I'm afraid. But all this other nonsense, it's such a farce, and unfortunately, the vast majority of Canadians, Americans, Brits, people anywhere in the West really have not woken up to this and twigged to this reality, and that's what's bothering me today.